And here is another lesson in Seek, Plant Identifier app, and iNaturalist. So today we're going to focus on the Callery Pear, and we're going to start with Seek. I don't have a whole lot of bars or internet service. Sometimes Seek can be a little slow. In that respect, iNaturalist will zip right through it, but Seek will have a little bit of trouble if you're not getting a good signal. So let's take a look at the subject and see what Seek can do. This is Callery Pear. I'm sure you've seen it before. There's some more over in here. There's another one there. There's one way over in there. And there's one right there. That's not quite bloomed yet. This used to be my favorite tree about 10-15 years ago when they first planted them, because it was like my second winter. Because as you drove down the streets, it was so beautiful to see it. Okay, so I'm just going to talk while Seek is trying to identify it, and it's stopping at the genus, and it's saying pear, so it's close, but it's no cigar, so I won't be able to catalog it here. Which is no big deal. We'll just go to iNaturalist. But yeah, it was beautiful lining the streets years ago, and you know the petals would come down. It was really pretty, and nobody knew it was going to turn into such a horrible invasive. I mean, it has taken over. All right, so the phone is, or the app is not going to cooperate only because of the internet. So we're going to go to iNaturalist. And we're going to press the plus button at the bottom right, press the camera in the center, and we are going to take a picture. And then press OK down at the bottom. What did you see? And see it, the buffering was happening, so even iNaturalist is having an issue with the slow internet. So we press the Callery Pear, and there it is, right there. Yeah, landscaping plant gone wild. It's really a shame. All right, so that's your lesson and that, and I have a little commentary coming up right after this. All right, folks, thanks for watching. So just to give you a good idea of how bad Callery Pear is, this open field here, this property is owned by Scenic Hudson, and they have an easement here where part of that says that they have to keep this at least some open field, and this is the one open field. Unfortunately, it's filled with Callery Pear. You can see it over here. Now the ones that I'm showing you right now are the ones that have spread, because in this empty field by August it'll be filled with Callery Pear. Now last year they had asked me, why was it that they were getting rid of all the Callery Pear in this field, but yet they were ending up with more and more each year? I said, well, how are you getting rid of it? They said, well, we have a guy who comes in and he chops them up. He grinds them. Well, there you go. That's the reason why there's so many of them, because little tiny cuttings of Callery Pear will root themselves very easily. It's a typical, it has the profile of a typical invasive species. It outnumbers the native species, and it is highly prolific. So I said to them, they did ask me, you know, for some advice, and I said, well, the only thing you're going to be able to do is to have the guy who comes in tear them out by the roots, get as many roots out as he can, and destroy them. Or you're just going to have to spray with like triclopyr or you know, what is that stuff? Roundup, glyphosate. And they got a lot of kids around here. It's basically a school, so I don't think the kids come out here. But to be perfectly honest, in an old farm like this that's been around since about the 1850s, probably 1840s, I'm sure there's been a lot more ugly stuff sprayed on this property. I'm sure there's a lot of DDT that was sprayed here. But this is what happens. This is what's happened, what, like 15 years after they started planting Callery Pear as a decorative tree, ornamental tree. And It's doing a hurting on the landscape. Like I said earlier, it's not a nutritious food for the animals. It leaves them hungry and it just makes them want to eat more, but it doesn't have the fat or the carbs that the native plants have that help sustain the wildlife. So it's a shame, but this is what happens. You know, it's usually a money game in the landscaping business, and that's how we end up with this sort of thing. So there's your story on Callery Pear. I'd like to bust every one of them down and just completely destroy them, but I mean, look at this over here. That is thick. That is thick by the roadside. I mean, it's almost starting to look like a hedge. There are so many. But what you see right there is what this will look like by August. It's pretty bad. All right, folks, thanks for watching and have a good day. Again, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer. Bye-bye.